Today's a pretty big day. I'm actually done with all the coats of primer, and now we are gonna put the color on the floor. I imagine it'll take 2 coats, hopefully only 2. It might take 3, but I'm guessing with how much primer I put down, I should be able to get away with just 2 coats of the color. I don't have any sponsorship or anything, but this is just what I'm using. It's the Bare Ultra Stain Blocking Paint and Primer. It is the deep base because I'm trying to get like a very dark, rich color. So I'm using the exterior satin enamel deep base. Make sure to use exterior paint, not interior, because this will be subjected to a lot of weather and water and grimy, dusty conditions. And I am sealing it all with epoxy, so maybe it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that was just my line of thinking. So anyway, but before I put the color on, now that I'm gonna have a different color on the floor than on the walls, I have to do some more taping so that I get nice clean lines. So let's get started. Yeah, good job flipping it over. You're natural. And instead of washing this out, I'll put it in my bag here. There, now I got that sealed airtight in there. That paint won't dry on it. And next time I need to use it, I just pop it on. Okay, I got these, just bought them at Home Depot, these chips, Rust-Oleum decorative chips. They have a few different color options. This is the color I chose. I thought it'd go well with the blue. So I'll paint a little section of floor and then I'll do the chips. And don't drop them down, throw them up and you'll get a more random pattern. I learned that from a guy who sealed garage floors for a living. Notice I'm throwing it up. That first toss looks terrible. Big old pile right there. It's not very uniform. This actually ended up turning out better than I expected. This looks great. I need to let that paint dry now with the flakes on top of it. So I'm gonna let that sit overnight and then I'll come back with the epoxy tomorrow. Very exciting. The nap you wanna use on this roller is 3/8 of an inch nap so that it really soaks it in and you get a nice thick coating. Of course, we're doing 2 coatings and I'll be very liberal, very generous. I don't think I can put too much on. I just don't want it to be splotchy. Yeah, and not too close to the edges. So maybe do like a line about 3 inches away from my line. And then actually just do the 1 for now, that's good. Let me,
let's see how that goes.
They say you should pull it away first, and then back towards.
Yeah, that's going a lot better.
Yeah, I feel better about that. I think that's the way we should do it. Actually, I think it's pretty good because this bottom layer over here is probably a little thinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the previous coat because I spread it kind of far. So I think you did really good. You're the best, Phil.
No, you're the best.
Stop. I was a little nervous about putting the flakes down because all the videos I've seen people put the flakes down with the epoxy, the base layer of epoxy, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted both layers of epoxy over the flakes to really seal them in.
Yeah.
And I just figured, I was like, well, if it sticks to epoxy, it'll stick to paint. But I was a little nervous about it, but I gotta say that the paint worked just fine, putting the flakes on the paint.
I think you made a good call on that. It looks good.
Oh, I just realized the camera didn't catch any of this.
Here.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so I got my base coat on, and sorry, just redo that. Okay, so I have my base coat on. According to the can, I have to wait 24 hours and let this set. It's a pretty warm day. I think we're almost like 60 degrees today. That's a little bit on the cool side for epoxy, but it'll work. And then I'll put my top coat on at least 24 hours later, but not more than 7 days later, according to the can. So on the top coat, and I'm still debating with myself if I'm gonna do 2 more coats or just 1 more. I'll kind of take a look this tomorrow and see how it looks. Well, I'll probably just do 1 more. But in the top coat, I got the Valspar grip additive. So I'll put that directly into the epoxy before I spread it. And it's almost like, it gives it a texture, almost like sand, so that you won't slip on it. Even when it's wet, the epoxy, which otherwise would be super slippery, it has like a lot of texture, almost like sandpaper. So I'll be adding that to the next layer of epoxy, just for anybody wondering. I was trying to match the blue to my shirt, so it's like the same like New Leaf blue color. And I got pretty close. This is actually a little brighter, which I like. I wanted it more royal blue. This is like a mix of royal and navy. And I like how bright blue this is.
And tape matches your green on the New Leaf.
That's right. That's right.
I'll just leave all the tape up.
I'll just leave the tape on. I thought about doing green trim for New Leaf, but in my heart, Boise State won out, and so I'm doing orange trim. Yeah, I can't wait to walk into this trailer and just see like Boise State popping.
I know, that'll be good.
Okay, well, I am using this Rust-Oleum concrete and garage clear finish and top coat. I got it at Home Depot. And then I got this Behr Premium floor coatings. It's like a anti-slip additive that you can put in to your epoxy, and it'll just give it like a granular finish, so it's almost it's just a non-slip surface. This epoxy, if it gets wet or your shoes are wet when you walk on it, it can be quite slippery. So you put this on it and it just kind of gives it almost like a sandpaper type finish. I mean, not that rough obviously, but you know, just something that your shoes can grip really well. You add it directly to your epoxy. For a gallon, you put this whole pouch in. I'll just put it in here. Now, you don't have to do this the way I did. I specifically wanted a blue floor, and Rust-Oleum actually makes a blue floor like kit, but nobody sells it, and I didn't want to wait for it to come like on Amazon. So I decided to just kind of parse this out myself. I've got 3 coats of the Kills primer on here. I have 2 coats of my blue color, and remember, if you're trying to get a rich color like this, like a really deep blue or red or orange or green or something like that, you have to use the ultra deep base. So it has more pigment and can pick up the color, and you'll be surprised, it's a very thick paint. And then I did a layer of epoxy. Oh, I put flakes on my top layer of color, as you've seen. And then I put down a layer of epoxy to kind of seal the flakes in. And now I'm putting my top coat on, making sure I've got it as uniform and as mixed as possible. And you'll notice I don't have my paint tray today. I'm just gonna pour this directly on the floor. That was really effective the other day, so I'm just gonna stick with that. And remember, you don't want a bunch of dusty footprints. So what I do before I step onto my trailer each time, I wipe the bottom of my shoe on my work pants to get as much dust and dirt off as possible, because I don't want to seal footprints into my epoxy. Now after the top coat's on, I won't care. This is a work trailer, it's going to get dust, but I can always sweep it out or clean it. But in between the coats, I don't want there to be a big footprint, because that'll be there forever. If you look really closely, you can see these like, oh, there it is, that's a good shot. Little white granules in there. That's what's gonna give it the texture. I'm not talking about the flakes in the floor. I'm talking about the little tiny white granules. And that's the additive that I put in, the non-slip additive. And it should give the floor a good texture as it dries